Point now with our boxing analyst Alex Wallow. Alex, it looks to me like it's a virtual whole new crop as we look ahead and start getting ready for 1988.
It really is, Keith. Following the 76 Olympics and the 1980 Olympics, the professional boxing took the cream of the U.S. amateur team, but following the 84 Olympics in Los Angeles, professional boxing took really the milk as well. I mean, 38 of the top 50 American fighters, amateur boxers, have left amateur boxing, mostly turned professional. This is obviously something that the Cubans, the Soviet Union, the Eastern Bloc countries don't have to contend with. They have tremendous continuity in their programs. So national coaches Pat Nappy and Roosevelt Sanders are here in Beaumont looking to find the talent necessary to do a big, big rebuilding job looking ahead towards 1988 and Seoul, Korea.
Among those coming this year for this 98th tournament, 9 defending champions, and you're looking at one of them right there, Arthur Johnson at 112 pounds, defending against Kennedy McKinney, and this is a rematch. Arthur Johnson, 5'7", out of East St. Louis, Illinois, and he is a sophomore at the University of Edwardsville College in Edwardsville, Illinois. The young man across the ring from him, Kennedy McKinney, is looking for redemption because he was stopped by Arthur Johnson in the second round in the finals in 1985. And he's had a very impressive outing so far. They go to the center of the ring now for the referee, Paul Connor. And the fight is on at 112 pounds, flyweights. The height and reach advantage, a little bit of it, goes to the defending champion, Arthur Johnson.
Johnson really is one of the outstanding people on this American boxing scene, Keith. He's just a very strong young fighter, talented, does not use his height and reach, likes to get inside, but really wings with his left hand.
The rules of boxing. You see the white gloves, the white knuckles. You must land that portion of the glove on the opposition in order to score a point. The headgears are a requisite of amateur boxing. The standing 8 count will be administered in the sole judgment of the referee. The referee does not have a ballot in deciding who wins and who loses. There are 5 judges at ringside, and these flyweights are opening at a torrid pace. They are really after each other, and both of them went through tough fights in the semifinals last night. One of the punches that you want to watch for with Arthur Johnson is the left hook. It's sneaky, and it's very effective, and he uses it a lot. But I see in McKinney, Alex, a little more resolve. I think he wants a redemption.
Oh, he is absolutely determined to avenge that defeat in last year's amateurs, Keith. He was ahead in that fight until he got caught in that second round. His coach, Kenny Adams, who's built that tremendous Army boxing team down in Fort Hood, Texas, wants him to keep that right up to avoid just that left hook that you were talking about, and to move away from that left. Keep moving, keep circling to his left.
Good right hand chopped in there by Johnson, and that got the attention of Kennedy McKinney. They've met each other on 2 previous occasions. They know well, and it looks to me like McKinney might be a little wobbly, but he's trying to cover it at least by being aggressive. They fight 3 3-minute rounds.
Arthur Johnson has always shown himself to be a good finisher when he has his man hurt. He's patient, picks his shots. He really is one of the bright hopes. See that bandage on his left knee, Keith. He was hit by a car in East St. Louis when he's 9 years old, and ever since then that knee has been sore, been a problem for him, especially in long tournaments like this.
There's that left hook, and it half spins McKinney. So it's not only noisy, but it's a powerful weapon for Arthur Johnson. His coach is Frank Borders. Combination by Johnson. Good right hand by McKinney. As we go inside 20 seconds of the first round, and sometimes when you're 18, 19 years of age and you're in a pressure-packed circumstance like this, after a hard night last night, 3 minutes can seem like an eternity. Of this 112-pound flyweight championship fight with Kennedy McKinney in the yellow and Arthur Johnson in the blue. And electronics continues to march on in this computerized society. Johnson threw 86 punches in the first round, McKinney 92. Johnson had 22 connect. That means the efficiency percentage of Johnson's punching was 26-22. That is, he landed 4 more punches than did McKinney. Freely translated, that would amount to a 20-19 scoring round for Arthur Johnson. That's as simple as I can say it.
Those statistics, Keith, come from 2 gentlemen behind us who are programming into a computer punches thrown and punches landed with the white portion of the glove. Scoring in boxing is the most inexact science in all of sport. Like any computer, it's only as good as the people programming it.
The barrister from Milwaukee, Paul Connor, who's about to step out of the ring and go on to administrative responsibilities with the Federation. But he's been about a long time. He's been a good long-time friend and a fine gentleman and has done a lot to further the efforts and the development of the U.S. American Boxing Federation. Arthur Johnson stalking his man. Kennedy McKinney losing to Johnson a year ago and really wants to bounce back and claim the gold medal, and he was just stung by a short, sharp right hand from Johnson. The left hand continues to keep McKinney at bay and off balance. Arthur Johnson studying at the University of Edwardsville in Illinois, majoring in child development, if you will.
Very intense, very serious young man, Arthur Johnson, on the right of your screen. He might look like he's showboating. He says he's trying to draw his man into throwing right hand so he can counter with that left.
Well, he got one there. He got 2 to the side of the head from McKinney. But he retaliates with a very strong straight right of his own. Alex, that left hand of Arthur Johnson is as quick as any left hand I've seen in a long time from a 19-year-old.
Especially when he throws the hook. He really wings it when he turns that hook over. He's jabbing a little bit more than we've seen him do in the past, Keith, and Pat Nappy will be happy to see that. He's always wanted Johnson to use his height and reach a little bit more. McKinney's a resilient young man, well-conditioned athlete, and very determined.
His rank is E4. He's a truck driver, stationed in the Army at Fort Hood, Texas. He's got his hands full right now.
He's a little busier here in the second half of round 2 than Johnson is. Johnson may be a little bit too patient, taking a little bit too much time, getting beat to the punch.
End of round 2, 112 pounds. Round 3, and the fight may hang right here, because in looking at these statistics, Alex, one would surmise that McKinney won the round.
Johnson threw more, according to this. McKinney landed more. That 10-point differential would translate into a 3-point difference, theoretically.
No way.
There's no way in the world that was a 3-point round.
My own sense, sitting here watching it, I felt Johnson still had control. Even though McKinney closed with a flourish, it was Johnson who landed the more authoritative punches, especially in the middle of the round. But that's the way the pros think. That's not the way it's done.
I think I succumbed to the closing second theory, where McKinney came on so strong in the end of the round. That's what I remembered. I gave it a 1-point round. I have it even right now.
The 5 judges who must decide the winner, the gold medalist of the flyweight for 1986, Stan Hamilton, Floyd East, Chet Como, Everett Vanderveer, and Sue Kane. They have been amongst the judges. And double-checking, I see Ernie Filippelli, Gene Reese, Charles Richard, Wood Marcus, and Tony Johnson are now at ringside. So they turn the judges over every bout, and they rotate their way into the ring, much in the same manner as you rotate umpires in baseball. Everybody moves a chair at a time, and everybody gets a chance.
Arthur Johnson was a clear favorite coming into this fight. He just landed a good right hand, snapped McKinney's head back, and might have hurt him a little bit.
McKinney comes back off the ropes and lands a right of his own, but Johnson is right in front of him, digging hard to the body, and a wicked left to the face of McKinney by Johnson.
I was going to say, Johnson was a clear favorite. He's let McKinney into this fight. But Connor stops it right there. Warns him for talking to his opponent.
Can't coach and can't talk in amateur boxing.
But in the closing seconds, Arthur Johnson, I think perhaps realizing that the fight was closer than he expected it to be, has turned it on. Right now he's in control of the fight.
Arthur Johnson of East St. Louis trying to repeat in the flyweight division. He had a goodly amount of success at 106 pounds before he grew up to 112. Good left hand by McKinney. Johnson comes back with a combination. Now Johnson does get busy. Of course, going back to what you said a moment ago, you want to make sure that last 30 seconds is busy, especially since this is the end of the fight. And we're now inside 30 seconds.
That was vintage Arthur Johnson. Dug two lefts to the body, came up top, finished with a right hand. Now he's stalking his man. Still has to let his hands go a little bit more. I'm really surprised he hasn't been as busy as he has been in earlier fights, both in this tournament and his past career.
The final seconds ticking away. Johnson throwing the punches, trying for the gold medal for a second straight year. Good fight. Kennedy McKinney and Arthur Johnson, and we'll have the decision at 112 pounds in just a moment. Gold medal at 112 pounds.
Is in the red corner, Arthur Johnson from St. Louis, Missouri.
So Arthur Johnson repeats as the national champion in the flyweight division. 112 pounds and a good fight against an old foe, Kennedy McKinney. We'll be back with more live action at the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championship. But first, Jim Lampley with ABC Wide World of Sports Anniversary Moment.